It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion starter.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. This morning we continue our conversation and we're talking all things happening at the business sector level as well as what's happening with our inter-island transportation. This morning I have the pleasure of sitting in studio and chatting with Mr. Curtis Williams, who is the chairman of the Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Good morning and welcome.
Morning to Tobago. I'm just glad being here.
All right. Well, it's always a pleasure to have you. Now, we saw earlier this week an incident happened on the Cabo Star where I think it was one of the engines that caught a fire. How did that impact inter-island transportation, and how does that, further expose the issues that we have with that inter-island transport and its impact on businesses here in Tobago?
Right. So we saw earlier on this week how the Cabo Star was in port and was preparing to embark on its journey to Tobago, and there had been a fire on board. And subsequently to that, there were issues in the air as to the anniversaries coming up, and someone was asking the question about the Port Authority put anything in place in case something like that do happen, and so it did happen. Incidentally, at the same time that fire took place, we were planning a meeting with the Port Authority because they were handing over leadership at the port at the CEO level. So it was right in the midst of it that we were able to get from the port the information as to what transpired and the way forward. The fire definitely was, as indicated from the port, wasn't as huge or devastating as the last fire on board. But with all fires, as you know, marine space, you have to do your investigation and so forth, and you have to get your reassurance and your insurance and etc. And I know from history that will take some time. Then I did call on a proper investigation, a big probe into the whole incident to find out what's happening. We had a fire probably a year ago, and now we have a fire, and it seems like it's the engine room. So something there is not correct. And I asked the port to do a proper investigation, thorough investigation, and they assure us that they will do such. And then we look at the vessel coming back on stream, and we understand that the vessel will not be on stream within the next week or two. I can surely guarantee you that based on how things is progressing so far. We saw in the space bulletins going out as to alert the users the alternatives that they put in place, which is the galleon passage and some extra sailing of the Boca Reef, which is good, and I applaud them for such. But I need a definite answer as to a date or time frame so that the business community can plan accordingly. We have been through this before, so we just need to know a definite date as to when the vessel will be back so we can make alternative plans going forward.
And how has this negatively impacted the Tobago business sector, specifically businesses who, rely on the inter-island ferries to, bring goods back and forth?
Yeah, it definitely impacted on us in a negative way. We get set back. With one of my companies, we got set back. We haven't received any cargo for like probably 7 days now. We're going on 7 days. And it do affect our operation, the smooth operation for most of us because of the size of trucks some of us carry. We can't get those trucks on the fast ferry or even the galleon passage. So then we have to hold on and see what's in the mix to help us coming up there. Those in the construction sector definitely will get some setback, as you understand that the airport was so far advanced and they needed all that steel coming across the Tobago and other stuff that they may need coming across the Tobago. It definitely will give us some setback. The Port Authority do assure us that things will be back to normal in the shortest space of time. But I need them to tell me what that shortest space of time is. Whether it's going to be a month, 2 months, tell us so that we can make the necessary plan and don't just keep giving us a bulletin every 4 days or every 2 days. That's not good enough. We need to plan better than that so we know where we are and we know where we want to go. Because as you could well know, we're going into September. And after September, you know what we're going into Tobago Carnival. So we don't want an issue going forward. So we need to know so that folks can make the necessary arrangements otherwise to make things happen.
All right. And so even in your conversations with the Port Authority, have they offered, or they have put on these additional sailing for other vessels, but are there any other solutions or compensation that is being offered to Tobagonians?
Well, what they indicated to us as from last night is that they are looking at other avenues in terms of assisting, in terms of sailing. So maybe on weekends they probably will put on an extra vessel again to assist the smaller trucks. That's the trucks, trucks up to 5 ton, I think. Yeah. To use on the Galleon Passage. So that would be exclusively just to bring foodstuff, drugs, pharmaceutical, and other those perishable items and stuff. That's what they're looking to do over the weekend. So we should all be getting ready to get our trucks down on the port on this weekend to get across Tobago, because they're going to be extra sealing to bring across those critical items that we need, the perishables and some of the food stuff that we still
All
need.
right, so is it that if a person goes down there and they are trying to get on standby, they have to fit within a particular criteria in order to get on those sailings, especially when it comes to bringing the vehicles up?
Yeah, most likely they will definitely ask the type of cargo to bring. You know, some people will be unscrupulous and will tell you that they bring in food stuff and it's not food stuff.
Right.
We all know that. It happened last time. So we just asking everyone to use the discretion, and they give priority to food stuff when they're coming across and other needy items that the island may need. So this weekend, the avenue going to be open for us to do that. So we ask all the trucks to get down there and make the necessary inquiries, and they will put you on board, because there will be space this weekend coming up with the Galleon Passage.
All right, that's good news. And we heard coming from the Tobago Chamber that there has been an increase in tourist arrivals over the holiday period that has had a positive impact on restaurants, hotels, guest houses, and other service-related businesses on the island. So how has that conversation been going with the businesses in regards to, you know, the impact of the visitors' arrival recently?
Well, from our members, we got the figures, and it tell us that the island, especially from the Port Authority, they said the bookings have been totally booked out for the entire month of August.
Okay.
Fully booked. Airline, the same thing, fully booked. The villas and them are at 80%. So there are a lot of families across on the island who seeking accommodation at the villas. The hotels is not as full as the villas. And we know that we're in the peak. We're going into Independence, which is next week. And then from that now we may have just a little lull, and then we go straight into Tobago Carnival. So the bookings look good, it looks solid. The villas are, especially the villas, they're top. But because most folks like the villas for some strange reason or the other, as to the hotels. But I know the hotels will get this spillover, and I expect this carnival to be a really bumper one with the kind of names I heard coming, the different fetes and the branding of the Army Fete and all the different things coming. It's gonna be a real bumper carnival. So Tobago, we just got to be prepared for it. Let's take the opportunity to do what we have to do, what we do best. Keep the island safe, and we're hoping that the law enforcement put necessary things in place to keep us safe. We need to be safe. That's my paramount thing now, that, you know, crime and these kind of incidents, I want to be a crime-free carnival. So I'm hoping, and I'm calling on the authorities to ensure that all the necessary plugs are taken care of, so that we have a crime-free carnival coming up.
All right, and you seem to have a lot of information on what we can expect from this upcoming carnival. Have you gotten access to the calendar of events?
There was something recently that the promoters put together. Right. They have a carnival association. They have a Tobago Carnival Association. We met with that committee, and that committee was excited about some of the things coming across, some of the bands, and my goodness, if you were there in that meeting, you would have been overwhelmed with the excitement that we got. We as the business folks, so we were sharing to our members to take advantage of the opportunities that will be there. And again, the private sector have to push this. This is not a THA necessarily to push. No way. The private sector is going to take it over, and we're going to push this to the limit. We will actually support the enabling from the THA, which is some of the things that we would definitely need their support in. But we, the private sector, we want to push this thing in terms of getting all the shoes in place, getting all the, the masks, the bands as much as possible. Again, we just ask the THA to enable us in areas which need enabling, whether we have to use venues and so forth that we may ask you to give us at a reduced amount or even give us at free. Fine, we can look for that. But it's going to be private sector driven.
Right.
100%.
So can we see you hosting any events over the...
Well, I have been in partnership with a couple of the promoters and them, and we're having conversation with them. All our members, we're having conversation with them to assist in hosting some of the events. I know that, again, as I said, the association came to us to ask for some assistance in certain places, and our members were more than willing. I mean, overwhelmed in seeking that kind of assistance. Again, we into business, so it doesn't have to be I myself doing it. It could be a group of us coming together to assist them. And maybe simple, low-hanging fruits, quite simple things. Not big items, ticket items, quite simple ones. And we are more than willing. We want to see this carnival grow to that, that area that we could say, yes, we feel proud about it. But again, it is Tobago Carnival. We want to brand it Tobago Carnival. We want to keep it that way. We don't want to make another Trinidad Carnival. That's not what we're trying to do in Tobago space. We don't want to make another Miami Carnival. We want to make our own branding. So we have to sit and brand it ourselves the way we want it to be.
All right. And we're going to take a quick break right here, and we are going to return right after this as we continue our conversation. Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. So right before the break, we were chatting a bit about the Chamber's involvement in Carnival along with the Tobago Promoters Association and how they have been contributing to the development of the Tobago Carnival. But while we were on break, I was asking Mr. Williams about any conversations that are happening with Caribbean Airlines around increased flights to Tobago for the Tobago Carnival. Talk to us about that.
Definitely. We had conversation with the Port Authority. Just recently we concluded our meeting, and that was one of our agenda items. We also had the opportunity to speak to Caribbean Airlines, and they assure us that we will have additional flights to assist us in that whole process, because if you go now on the system, everything is fully booked. As soon as these flights are released, they're all booked out, and that's just tell you the excitement that coming through, with the Tobago Carnival. There's a bit of excitement coming there, where you have, all flights, and even the sailing. We put on additional sailing throughout that period. They assure us that we will have some additional sailing throughout that period, and I see that, and with that increased flights and the increased sailing, it's going to be a real bumper. Now we ask is where these folks is going to stay, and accommodation now is a big thing now with the villas and them. I know they are really going to be booked out, so we asking the hotels and them to give the packages, make the rooms available as much as possible. The bread and breakfast, again, make your rooms available, because there will be a lot of people needed place to reside or stay for the season.
Right. And before the break, you indicated that the aim is really to have specific Tobago brand of carnival that doesn't mimic any other carnival. So what about creating the experience Tobago packages that allow persons when they come to carnival to not only experience the carnival but experience somewhat a taste of Tobago? How has that discussion been going? I
think you were at our meeting with the Tobago band leaders, because these were some of the things we were talking to them about, creating that experience when the folks come to the island, and not just the 2 days of carnival, that whole build up. So all the different shows that they may be able to do, and even some of the tours that they may be able to go on, and visiting our rainforests and some of our forts. So those were some of the conversations we were having them to create that unique package. So it's not all about just wine and jam, but it's more of an experience coming to Tobago, and we brand it with our Tobago Old Time Wedding and all our heritage. All of that we're trying to put together as a package. It will take some time, and I know this is our 3rd year, And we will make mistakes. We will make mistakes. There will be opportunities. No one going to say that it's going to be perfect. But Trinidad Carnival have been on for years and still they're making mistakes. So hence the reason why we are there, we are listening, we are learning. No one is locked off. It's a learning experience for everyone, and we're all open for suggestions from all parties all over. We're definitely open for suggestions. So don't look to say, well, yes, they're supposed to do this or they could do that. We are there for open for suggestions.
Excellent. And we shift gears a bit as we round up our discussion this morning to what is happening with that Marriott Rocky Point hotel project.
Yeah.
So we heard even in the news story this morning that the owner, who's Mr. John Aboud,
Superior Hotels, yeah.
Right. And he indicated that he would be more than willing to give Tobagonians 1 or 2 shares of the company, and that was well received by the business chamber and other business persons that were in that meeting. Talk to us a bit about that.
Well, that meeting was overwhelmed. We had a representative from all sectors of Tobago. We have the Tobago division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. We had other associations. We had the Hotel and Tourism Association. We had the Divers Association. We had the Tour Guides Association. We have the Bread and Breakfast Association. We had the Taxis Association. We had the Fisher Folk Association. We had the Farmers and Association. Listen to me, that event was unbelievable. And we had every association, even the village councils were there. The Boko village councils were there. The Black Rock village councils were there. That meeting was, we captured the chamber and the hotel association organized this meeting, and we captured all the different associations and the personnel within the space to have conversation so that they could understand what this hotel project meant to them. And coming out from that meeting, it was overwhelmed. Most of the answers they got at that meeting, and they were all happy. And then the Superior Hotel, branded, head by Mr. John Aboud, he was so overwhelmed, and everyone was overwhelmed with it, that he even further went and indicated to us that he's willing, his company is willing to offer shares to Tobagonians, associations, etc., at least 1 or 2 shares. Now, when some folks say 1 or 2, they say, oh my goodness, I mean, he probably had 1,000. No, it's only 15 shares the company had. I don't know if they're going to intend to have more, but it's, as we speak, he indicated to us that it's only 15 shares they have. And he's willing to give 2 or so shares to Tobago and Tobagonians. So we were excited about that. We don't know the numbers. We don't know the cost of these shares. Of course, the share wouldn't be $1,000. It would be $100,000. It would be much more than that. It's going to have value. The part that I like is that we, the Tobagonians, we have interest in what's going down at Rockley Bay. And that speaks volume. That speaks excitement for me. That I have interest in there. I have shares in that. Now, it doesn't matter how much my shares may worth, but I have shares there, so I get in profit. That thing is that I am getting profit. So whether my profit is $1 million a year or whatever it is,
it depends on the share arrangement.
That's
because
correct.
Sometimes shares you only get a payout if the company is sold.
Of course it's going to be successful.
Whatever.
Of course, if we put a Marriott hotel there, we're going to be successful. We, the Tobagonians, will ensure that it's successful. And we do reap the benefits from it. Yeah. And that's what we're looking forward to. So that was a real exciting moment for us, hearing that the Superior brand is willing to go that distance. Besides that, there was so much good takeaways coming out of that event that all these various associations was excited. The taxis guys were so excited to hear that, hey guys, we're going to put in place that the associations and them, the taxis that, or the maxis that move in the guests will be yours. So you can imagine the ripple down effect of all these drivers who know when I get their maxi and the taxi organized and getting ready for that event. Well, the classic was the Fisher Folk, when he indicated that he wants the Tobago fish, he wanted fresh fish from Tobago. It was amazing. And some of the things coming out are that they are willing to put money back into the various village councils, etc., you know, in the communities. They are willing to offer scholarships and put money back. There was even an aspect of it where, you know, sometimes you're farming and you don't have the capacity, and they were willing to give funds to bring the farmers and the fishermen up to capacity and to produce the product that they may so desire for the hotel. And I mean, it speaks a lot of volume here in Tobago, and we are excited about this project. And we just want to ensure that Tobago understand the kind of contribution this project would bring to us. The economy would be really, really, it will give a difference. It will make a change in it. We're having a brand new airport. That airport is fantastic. It's real, real huge. And we now have to take advantage of the space at the airport and the opportunities given to us at that airport. But airport now bring airlift, and airlift bring people, and where the people going to stay? So now having a branded hotel on the island, like Marriott, is really, really good. And the other hotels on the island will have this spill-off, because if Marriott is filled, you will have this spill-off that will go across to Mount Irving and will go across to Comfort Inn and all the other brands around the areas, and Grafton, etc. They spill off. There will be spill-off. Definitely it will be spill-off. So I can't wait for that excitement where we turn the soil down at Brockley Bay. I will be there.
All right. Well, we look forward to that.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for staying with us this morning. Unfortunately, this is where we end off our discussion. We want to thank you so much, Mr. Williams, and the Chamber for, giving us your time here at Tobago Updates. Well, guys, this is unfortunately the end. But I want to thank you for liking, sharing, and commenting and joining the discussion this morning, and all that you have been doing to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. And remember, you can follow me on all social media platforms if you want to see what's happening behind the scenes. See you soon.